So we come to the final section of the show, which is James Acaster's scrape. Henry will be drawing this scrape, and we'll give the drawing to the person we consider did the best text. We'll discuss that at the end. Not text, best anecdote. We'll discuss that at the end.
Whittles, are you a tiny bit pissed?
Nah. So, James, a scrape you've got into.
Hello, Josh. This is basically the worst gig I've ever done.
Cheers, mate.
So I refuse to tell a scrape. You can all go fuck yourselves.
That Dido reference deserved a lot more.
Yeah. Not many people reference Dido, guys. You don't know how good you've got it.
No.
Not that funny. Fuck yourself. I was asked to sort out the comedy lineup for a festival called Felfoot Sound. It's the first time they'd ever done the festival in North Yorkshire in the Felfoot Woods. And I sorted out me and a bunch of friends. We were told we were going to do comedy around a campfire. The rest of the whole weekend was experimental bands, and that we'd be doing comedy around a campfire. It'd be very nice. We were told it was going to be a lovely, lovely gig.
Why were you asked?
Why? The organizer, I used to be in a experimental band also, and he used to book us for gigs. And he said, "Are you doing comedy now? You can come and do some comedy at the gig." Yeah,
What was the name of that band?
The band was called The Wow Scenario. It was the best band ever. The Wow, that name again, The Wow Scenario.
And they're still on MySpace, so...
Didn't it have an exclamation mark after wow as well?
Yes, exclamation mark in the middle of the name. How many bands do that? No one.
No. They're so
Godspeed You Black
experimental,
Emperor
they weren't
did
even
that.
on MySpace, they were on LinkedIn.
Business. So I sorted out a lineup, and we made our way down to North Yorkshire, up to North Yorkshire. On the way there, we stopped off at Tesco and bought loads of marshmallows because we thought we'd toast them around the campfire with all the festival goers.
Fucking hell, it's pretty rock and roll, isn't it?
And we arrived at the Felfoot Woods, and the promoter said, right, we've been told that because it's the last day of the festival, we've got an early curfew now. The last 2 nights, they haven't been happy with how loud the music's been, so the music has to stop at 10. So we're wondering, if we stop the music at 10, the comedy can start then in front of everybody, so the comedy will be the only thing on.
Oh, God. So you were headlining the festival?
Headlining the whole festival.
You were doing Sunday night?
Yeah, we're doing the last night, closing
You were
it.
Kasabian?
Yeah. we were Bruce Springsteen. And as far as the punters were concerned as well, they thought it was carrying on as late as normal, and they didn't know comedy was even at the festival at all.
Imagine Glastonbury, 10:30, on the pyramid stage. And now, Josh Widdicombe.
Good evening, Glastonbury.
Toilets, eh?
Kettles and toasters. Oh, nightmare.
You go in one, and has anyone been to the Thai food stand? Thing with Thai food, I mean, what is it? It's not Chinese. It's not Indian. It's sort of. No, don't throw those.
Your Widdicombe impression is starting to sound like a drunk Alan Partridge.
Let's get back to Acaster. Bit of focus, guys. Bit of focus.
So yeah, we were told this, and the last band played, and they stopped at 10, and the audience loving it, expecting there to be at least 2 more hours of music, and then an old man called Barry walked on stage, and
What kind of stage was it?
this was it was actually a lot like this. It was on the floor, and the audience were raked on a hill. The audience were on a hill looking down on the stage. So
Was it a proper stage with
there was lights and everything. Yeah, it was very it's a proper stage.
and how many people are we talking about? How many?
We're talking, I'd say about 500 people at this particular festival. So Barry walks on, and Barry owns the woods. They're Barry's woods. He owns Felfoot Woods. They're his woods. He's given these people permission to have a festival there, and he walks on, and they go ballistic. They love Barry.
How old's Barry?
Barry is probably late 70s, early 80s. He's an old man. And he walks on, they go crazy for him. And Barry has so far closed every day at the festival by reading a poem. So he walks on, like applauding the band, and then they start shouting, "Read us a poem, Barry! Read us a poem!" And he goes, I can't read you a poem actually, because I want to introduce some comedians." And they go, "Tell him to fuck off!" Pretty much all of them, really loud. Also, it has been pointed out to us that they've all been doing mushrooms for 3 days straight. So shouting.
Does this festival still exist?
I don't know. It might. It's the first.
Can I get on it next year?
Yeah, you can go. I can hook you
I'm a
up.
bit offended you didn't ask me to come if you're curating it.
Sorry, mate. Back then we weren't as tight, but now you'd be first dibs. So we're going to fuck off, and then eventually Barry yields to doing a poem, and he does a poem called "Into the Woods."
Have a fucking day off, Barry. We get it. You own the woods. Move on. I've got another one called King of the Trees.
If you go down to the woods today, you'll see me because I fucking own the woods.
The only line I remember from Into the Woods was "Into the woods, up to no good." That was it. That was all I can remember.
Silence. That is a chapter title, weirdly. It's
So Barry does the poem, and at the end of the poem is "up to no good," and they all erupt. They go ballistic. They're applauding. There's birds flying out of the trees. Everyone's loving Barry
They're called
so
women, mate.
much. Yeah. Also, while they're applauding Barry, I remember while they were applauding him, a guy jumped on stage and pointed at Barry like this. like an elf, just. So everyone applauded. So it's just in case people weren't sure exactly who they were applauding. It's Barry. It's Barry.
So to Barry was the hero. The first ever corporate I did. I've had to follow a guy. It was at a end of, it was a company awards, and it was a guy who'd done 50 years of service called Roy, and he got a tearful standing ovation, and they said, "And now here's a new comedian, Roy." And
Sorry, Karen.
no, Karen.
No. I've not.
1 point for Moldova.
I've got a corporate story, but I'll
Yeah,
follow
go on.
yours.
No, go on.
I'm very bad at this. I don't know when it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Okay. I did a corporate for the Indian Tsunami Relief Fund.
Livid Kumar.
I mean, I'd take it if I'd have lost it to Romesh.
For £250, which is big corporate money.
I'm sure you did give it to the cause, though, didn't you?
They had enough good singles that they'll be fine from royalties.
The cause.
The cause there.
The cause.
A
was
reference
the
from an
joke.
old Acaster joke, we assume.
And I was brought on by an ex-Blue Peter
Blue Peter.
presenter.
Hello.
Who
Can you hear me, Josh?
And what I followed, so it was in a function room at a hotel in Bristol, and I followed a very moving slideshow of some of the most explicit and harrowing images of the tsunami. And the tsunami was absolutely terrible, and an awful lot of people died. And then another victim died. Because after showing the slideshow, the ex-Blue Peter
Jesus.
Blue Peter.
and That's Life presenter said, right, now some light relief from a Bristol-based comedian. And then he read from, now there's a website called Comedy CV. Basically, when comedians start, they put up a CV onto a website and then they don't update it ever again. So he said, this young comedian has played gigs as far and wide as Plymouth's Fandango Club and the Taunton Brewhouse. The Bristol Evening Post has described him as fresh and original. Ladies and gentlemen, John Robbins. I then walked out on stage in front of about 50 people, all of whom were local businessmen from the Asian community who I then told about my life for 15 minutes. I was booked to do 30. I had followed a very moving slideshow of photos of people who had died, literally. And I left, and I took my check, and I promised I would never, ever do stand-up ever again.
John's show is on every day in the President's Courtyard. Do catch it, it's a
9:45,
hit.
ironically called This Tornado Loves You.
James, back to
Thank you, Josh. Barry finished. Everyone loved him. And then he said, now some comedy. I was the first act on. I walked on to boos. I've never been booed on stage before. I was booed quite ferociously on stage, and I walked on clutching all of the bags of marshmallows we had bought.
Oh no!
While throwing them into the audience as a way of like, it was like if you're thrown to a lion's den, that's like armed with nothing but raw meat, and you're just desperately trying to fend them off and just quell them in some way. And they were heckling for the whole gig. They were heckling, and they heckled all of us all the way through solidly. But there's one guy on the front who had like long hair and a beard, who wasn't shouting out like everyone else. He was just speaking, just doing a speaking volume, so only we could hear it. Which is more. If you want tips on how to really mess a comedian up, don't shout out. So just speak to them directly. He was just sitting on the front, and all he said for the whole gig, he just kept on going, "You can suck my dick, mate." Oi, mate, suck my dick. And you kind of be doing your gig, and then every now and again you kind of go, I don't want to. You could kind of carry on. You'd be trying to do it. There was one act on who I hadn't booked. I'd sorted out everyone apart from one guy who he went on, and we'd never seen him before. The promoter had booked him, and he went on. Bearing in mind, the rest of us were doing kind of like light whimsy, and we're getting abuse from these festival goers. This guy went on, and his opening line was, "Is it me or are all women lying whores?" was his first line, and he was the only one out of us.
Was it him or was it?
Huh? It was him, because he got a lot of bottles thrown at him, and a bag of marshmallows hit him square in the face. I did throw it. They're all dying one by one, and the last act, my friend Nathaniel is on, and he's getting the same treatment. And then the guy who's been saying "suck my dick" for the whole thing, he stands up during Nathaniel's set, and he walks around the back of the stage and just approaches me and my friend David, who we're both on.
So was there a back to the stage? So
not really. Yeah, kind of. No, not really. They could see the back. He was just walked. Everyone could see him, but like by that point, professionalism had gone out the window. It really wasn't an issue. And he came up to me, and I thought, right, I know what he's going to ask me, and I'm not going to do this. You're not here to collect what's rightfully yours. And he said, it's something he was friendly, and he went, "You all right, mate? Look, you guys are struggling. You're a bit shit. No offence, but I reckon I could do better than this. Can I get on? I can just do a comedy set." And my friend David went, "Sorry, what are you planning on doing?" He went, "I'm just going to go on. I'm going to say, hey, everyone, 3 cheers for Barry." And I'm going to give a cheer for Barry. And then I'm just going to do 1 minute. I'll just do 1 minute of pure comedy.
And that man was Josh Whittaker.
Yeah. This is how I met Josh.
You still haven't sucked my dick, though, have you?
There's a big finale tonight.
Yeah.
Well, medium-sized finale.
Just one day went by where you don't bring that up, Josh. Every morning I'll see Josh. You still haven't... Yeah, I know what I haven't done, Josh. Just leave it for 5 seconds. So he said he was going to go on to do that, and I thought, yeah, okay, because I don't like him. He hadn't been nice to us. I thought he was going and die along with the rest of us. He deserves it. So when Nathaniel finished, I walked on. I said, "Felford Sound, the comedy's not over yet. You've got one more act." And he told me his name. So I said, "Please welcome one of your own, Rybo was his name.
What? How's he spelling that?
Rybo.
Rybo.
Rybo. His name was Ryan, and yeah, he was cool. So introduced Rybo, and he walks on, and he walks on to the kind of applause normally reserved for Barry. It's ridiculous. They loved him, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's going to absolutely rip this, and we're going to look like a bunch of no-hopers." He goes on, he goes, "Hey, Felfoot Sound, how's it going?" Then massive cheer, round of applause for Barry, huge cheer again, and then he launches into his 1 minute of pure comedy, and I apologise in advance for what I'm about to say. He went on, and he said, "Well, Felfoot Sound, I was in my tent last night. And there's a couple in the tent next door to me, and they were going at it. You know what I mean, mate? You know, they were going at it. And I heard the bloke at one point. He shouted, 'I'm gonna come in your pussy.' That was the reaction it got. Just silence. Everyone looking shocked, horrified, apart from one guy who looked really proud of himself. But like, everyone was appalled. It was a horrible thing to say. I walked on to the silence, and I went up to Rybo, who was still facing the crowd and looking. And I said, "Rybo, I think it's over, mate. I think that's it." And he went, "I thought that'd go well." I said, I know you did, mate. We've all made mistakes tonight. I bought 10 bags of marshmallows on the way here. Like we've all misjudged this gig. Like don't worry about it. Let's just get off now. And he kind of grabbed my arm and he went, "Please, just let me do one more joke." Something about how I was like, yeah, I know I shouldn't, Rybo, but you got to do it. And I was still on stage at this point. He didn't let me walk off stage before he did his joke. I was about a foot away from him, and he just turned to the audience and dropped his trousers immediately. And he kind of turned round 180 degrees and then dropped his boxer shorts so that it was just his butt. And then he turned all the way around again, revealing what is still to this day the most disfigured penis I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a penis with corners in it. Had one very prominent corner. There's more. So there's a corner, and me and my friend Chris both agreed that it was at least 75% bell end. Yeah.
So
It looked really awful, and I was there on stage with him still, and everyone gasped, obviously, and Rybo realised that it looked not impressive, so he started to try and make it look more impressive. Now, we're all adults, we know how this is done, so he started just tenderly at first, masturbating said penis into stuff like, but he'd been doing mushrooms for like 3 days straight. It was a slow process. So he's kind of I'm still next to him. It's still me and him. Still very much a double act at this point. And I like to think I'm the straight man.
Yeah, it's cannon and balls.
So he's doing that, and everyone's really... He's kind of waddling around. He's still got his trousers around his ankles. He's kind of like...
So who's got the mic at this point?
No, there's no mic at this gig. There's no mic at the gig at all. There's because of the curfew, they've done it acoustic in front of just the audience like that. So there's no mic. And he's...
Unplugged?
Yeah, unplugged. He's waddling around. He's furiously masturbating. He's having no effect at this point.
Oh, my God!
Then he starts shouting out, "I'm going to come in your pussy." Now, that... comedically is a callback. He's shown a lot of professionalism. Under these circumstances, it's quite... I started respecting him for a second. And something about comedic structure, Rybo. It was pretty good that you brought that up. But I realise it's up to me to sort this out, and I'm out of my depth. I'm going to level with you. This doesn't happen often. The gigs I'm used to doing, I don't really know how to handle this. But I'm saved because there's a woman who's stood right at the back, and she spent the whole day dressed as a dog. Oh no, she was in a onesie dog outfit with like big furry, fluffy dog ears. And she stood up right at the back of the hill, right at the top of the hill, and she started running towards the stage. Her ears were flapping in the wind, really fast. She got to the lip of the stage and she jumped. And as she jumped, she clotheslined Rybo with her arm straight to the ground and started slapping him, but forehand and backhand, just pinning him down with her knees and just slapping him back and forth while he continued to masturbate and shout his catchphrase.
Did anybody film this?
No one
That is the
filmed
exact
it.
niche pornography I'm into. It really is.
It sounds like a scene from Lars von Trier's next film.
Literally, the woman dressed as a dog has pinned him to the floor. She's slapping him. He's masturbating, shouting his catchphrase. I'm stood there. And then they turned off the lights, and that was the end of the festival. That's how the whole festival ended.
I think that story might have just sold 200 extra tickets for next year.
Felfoot Sound.
Wow.
If she'd been dressed as a cat, it would have at least had narrative structure. And now we can recreate that scene. Gordon, come on down.
Wow. What a story. What, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.